at the moment, let's just currently look, we are on ratio, rate, and proportion. And we're going to be doing examples of rate today. And our upcoming courses are going to be exponents, patterns, functions, and then algebraic expressions, all the fun stuff.
I always love those. Hundreds.
It's going to be a very fun term next term. Okay, so let's dive right in. We are going to start with what is direct proportion. Who thinks they can give me like some kind of sentence or definition of what direct proportion is? Remember, it doesn't need to be perfect. So you can think of anything that your brain jumps to when you think of direct proportion. Tell me. You can put it in the chat or you can pop your hand up and let me know. But what do you think direct proportion is? Let's see. Give it a go. Oh, I'll go back up to the 24 thing. I'm so sorry. It just popped right out of my head as soon as I moved past it. Okay, an amount that is exact. Part of that is definitely right, because there is definitely an amount that would need to be the correct amount, totally. Try and think about like what this table down here, it's there to give you a bit of a clue to help you think about what direct proportion is. Think about what it would mean if I buy more bags of popcorn. Is it going to cost me more? Is it going to cost me less? Try and think that through. And then see if you can give me some kind of definition. And don't be scared to make a mistake, guys. Write whatever you think it is. If it's wrong, it's wrong. If it's right, that's awesome. Generally, there's something that we can work with that you've got. So my question to you is, what is direct proportion? Can you tell me what it is? You don't have to give me like an exact, beautiful definition, just something that you can think of when it comes to direct proportion. Let's see. And the table down here should be able to help you. Well, yes, we'll talk about how much a bag of popcorn is worth now. But it depends on what type of popcorn you buy. So don't worry about filling in that table right now. All I want to know at the moment is who thinks that they can tell me what direct proportion is. An estimate of what an increased number would amount to. Okay, yeah, we could definitely work with that kind of definition. Yeah, so basically, when we're talking about direct proportion, it means that as the one increases, the other will also increase. So like if we drew like a little graph for direct proportion, it would literally look like this. It would be a nice straight line, because as this one is increasing, this one is also increasing. So when we're looking at this, if you think about it, just sort of think if you were at a shop and you wanted to buy one bag of popcorn, and let's say one bag of popcorn was 10 Rand. Okay. If you bought 2 bags of popcorn, it would be 20 Rand. If you bought 3 bags of popcorn, it would be 30 Rand. If you bought 6 bags of popcorn, how much would that cost? Who can give me that answer for that next little block? Beautiful, exactly 60. Nice job. So this is obviously not like a very fancy mathematical definition. I'm just writing it there because it's like an easy way for us to remember it. Basically, as one variable increases, the other, so does the other. I don't know why I wrote rather. So does the other. So as one of our variables increases, the other one also is increasing, and it increases at the same rate. Okay, so this, like that beautiful answer in the chat, that's going to be 60 Rand. If we have 10 bags of popcorn, it's going to be 100 Rand. If we have 20 bags of popcorn, it is going to be 200 Rand. Okay, and when we're using direct proportion, we are using ratio. So in this case, we are using the ratio of 1 and how much our bags cost. That's okay. You got here only 8 minutes late, not the end of the world. I'm Teacher Jen. I'm just looking after you for this week. Okay, does this make a little bit more sense? Are we happy with direct proportion? If there is anyone who is not happy with direct proportion, please let me know. Put up your hand or ask a question. Anyone who is feeling very lost by what they are currently seeing on the board, if you don't know how I got to any numbers, tell me. We can chat through it. Because this section, it may seem like it's a small section now in grade 8, but it actually becomes quite big as we grow up in our high school math. Yes, so direct proportion, it uses ratio. So we can always use ratio in order to find our answers for direct proportion. So for example, if we had a look over here, let's have a look at those 3 and 30. If we have 3 bags of popcorn, we can always do our divide up and times over rule. So we can say 3 divided by 1 times by 10, and that would give me 30 rand. So we can always use ratio when we have direct proportion. Our friend in direct proportion is ratio. We have a constant ratio each time. Maybe we should write that word as well. It's an important word. So constant ratio basically is just like something where you can always simplify something down to the same. So yeah, so Teacher Sam is going to be back with you next week. She's just got a cold, and Teacher Jen, I'm just looking after you for this week. So we've got a ratio here of 1 to 10. That is its ratio. Okay. If I looked at my next block, so I've got 2 to 20. Let's write that out. I could simplify that down to 1 to 10. If I have 3 to 30, I could simplify that down to 1 to 10. So when we say there's a constant ratio, it just means that it is the same ratio each time. That's all that means. Okay. Cool. If you want to take a screenshot of this, please feel free. We're just quickly looking at our definitions before jumping into some questions. But this is just looking at direct proportion. And remember, if you feel at any point that I'm going too fast, just let me know. Just talk to me. You can send it as a direct message, so you don't need to feel embarrassed that other people will see. It's just important for me to know. No, you wouldn't simplify from here. So you would keep this as just the 10s, the 20s, the 30s, just like that. So the constant ratio is just for us to find what it is in order for us to work out the next few questions. For the direct message that came in, I'm not sure which folder you're needing to open, so it's difficult for me to help you with, but maybe if you could send a message to Yolanda. No, in this case, simplification isn't needed. Simplification would only be needed if we were working with just like generally just with sometimes they may ask you for a simplified ratio, and sometimes in fractions we have to do a simplified ratio, but with this no. Okay. All right, so that is looking at direct proportion. Then the next thing
can we take screenshot? Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Screenshot my people. Let's do that quick. Anyone who needs screenshots? Reese, are you sorted? Okay, nice, my people. Okay. Thank you, Teacher Jan.
No problem. So Philip, the cool thing with fractions is that fractions are actually also ratios. It's just not something, it's not like words that we normally use. But for example, if you were given the fraction, let's say 5 over 15, okay, that's just a normal fraction. And they asked you to simplify that fraction, and you were simplifying that down to 1 over 3. That's actually using this idea of ratio. So another way of writing 5 over 15 is actually 5 to 15. So fractions and ratios, they're all related to each other. Everything in maths is kind of intertwined in one big lump. So when we teach it in high school, we teach it in these separate little groups, but really all of them are connected to each other in a cool way. Yes, beautiful. That's a great definition. So a relationship between two quantities in which one increases is proportion. So all of these things have really beautiful long definitions. And sometimes those are hard to remember. So just try and think of it in like a nice, easy way. I literally, for me, if I just draw those two little arrows, then I know I'm talking about direct proportion. So those arrows are telling me as the one goes up, the other one also has to go up. It's like a nice, easy thing for me to think of when I think of direct proportion. Okay. All right. So that is direct proportion. Direct proportion, which uses our constant ratio, as one goes up, the other one goes up. Next, be the same. Think about it like this. So I'm going to ask sort of a bit of a backwards question for this one. I want you to think of yourself. If you are painting your house, okay, so let's make it even easier. Let's just say you're painting a wall, okay, because a house would take a very long time. If you were painting a wall, it would take you a certain amount of time. If you had a friend who was helping you, would it take less time or would it take more time? That's my first question to you. Okay, less time. Do we agree? More. I guess some people are saying more because we would be laughing and talking to our friends. But technically, it should take less time. If there are more of you, it should take less time. So if we have one person painting and it takes them a certain amount of time, if we have two people painting, it should take less time. Okay, and if we have three people painting, it should take even less time. So for inverse proportion, the way that the last one, the way we remembered with our two little up arrows, for inverse proportion, think of it as one arrow that goes up and one arrow that goes down. And we're going to use a very special word here called a constant product, which we're going to talk about. So don't panic just yet. Okay. And so when we think about inverse proportion, I want you to think as the one quantity gets more, the other quantity will get less. Okay. So as the one quantity increases, or as the one variable increases, the other will decrease. And that's really just like a long sentence of writing what I've drawn there in my little block with my arrows. So one is going up, the other will come down. And we're going to be talking about something called a constant product. Okay. So let's say it took one person, so it takes one person 36 hours to paint. Okay. How long do you think it would take if I had two people? So if I had one person and I'm telling you it's going to take 36 hours, how many hours do you think it'll take if I have two people? Okay, so we've got some answers coming in. Keep them coming. Doesn't matter if they're right or wrong. Yeah, possibly. No, you're not wrong. Okay. Okay, I've seen lots of the beautiful answer over here of 18. Now, obviously, this is not guaranteed. So there's some possibly answers coming in. I like it. I like the variability that you guys are bringing. But generally, with maths, we're sort of assuming that it would sort of be consistent. Okay, so if I have one person, it would take them 36 hours. If I have two people, it would take 18 hours. And I got that by saying 36 divided by 2. Okay, so using that logic, how long do you think it would take 3 people to paint that house? 12. Beautiful. How long do you think it would take 4 people to paint that house? Yeah. You guys are smashing this. Nice job. It's going to take us 9 if we have 4, because now we're saying 36 divided by 4. If we have 6, it's going to take 6 hours, because now we're saying 36 divided by 6. And we can keep on going like that. Okay, for the moment, we're going to ignore these ones, just because they're going to get messy for us. So looking at this, if you haven't done this in class, I don't want you to panic. I want you to take a shot in the dark, though. Take a guess. If we're looking at this table and we're looking at these numbers that we've put on here, who thinks that they can tell me what my constant product would be in this question? What would my constant product be? So I want to know what this magical number is in this question. Who thinks they can tell me? What is my constant product? Okay, so we've got some different answers coming in. A negative answer coming in. Beautiful, guys. Yes, in this case, our constant product is definitely going to be 36. Okay, so think about what that word means. Constant means it's the same, and product means we are multiplying. So if we multiply these two together, we need to get the same number. So 2 times 18 gives us 36. 3 times 12 gives us 36. 4 times 9 gives us 36. 6 times 6 gives us 36. Exactly. Constant means that something doesn't change. So something is going to stay the same. So the constant is telling us that something's going to stay the same, and the product is telling us that we're going to multiply them. And so if we multiply all of those, the number of painters by the time, we should always get the same number. And that's telling us what our constant product is. And we can use our constant product to find things when we need to, but we'll talk about that more when we start dealing with some questions. Okay. Now, before we move on to anything, does anyone have any questions about what they're currently looking at that you feel confused by, that you would like some clarity on? This is your time to ask. Yes. How can I help?
Could I please ask, why did we not do the last 3 of the questions?
Just because with the numbers of 36, they would get nasty. We'd get really ugly numbers. That's the only reason.
Okay.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions about this? Are you ready to get jumping in some questions? Okay. If you want a screenshot, please feel free to take one, and then we are going to move on. So screenshot time. Okay, cool. Cool. So let's have a look at our first example. Not wanting me to. Here we go. Okay. So question A, the cricket team is having a farewell braai. All right, so let's read this super carefully. The cricket team is having a farewell braai. They are catering for 45 people, and it is going to cost 900 Rand. How much will it cost to cater for 60 people? So before we jump into anything, our first question that we have to ask is this direct proportion or is this inverse proportion? Okay, so that's the very first thing we're going to ask. Is this direct? And if it's direct, it means both would go up. Or is this inverse, which means one would go up and one would go down? So I want you to think about this story. If we're catering for people, so if we're giving food to people, is it going to cost more if we have more people? Or as we have more people, will it cost less? Ooh, I'm throwing things around my room. Okay, so we have two answers saying direct and one saying inverse. And another direct. Yeah, good. Okay, I know some of you are still thinking inverse, and that's okay. That's why we're still at the beginning of our lesson. This one is definitely going to be direct proportion, because as we have more people, it's going to cost more money. So as the people go up, the money will go up. So if we're dealing with direct proportion, then we're wanting to work with a constant ratio. So we're wanting to work with a ratio, and then we can just use our normal ratio work. Okay, so we've got people and we have got money. And we're going to put into the question exactly what they've told us. 45 people costs 900 Rand. And I want to know how much it's going to cost for 60 people. Who can solve that for me? You can solve it any way you like, whichever way Teacher Sam has taught you, or whichever way your teachers at school have taught you. I would like to know how much that is going to cost if I have 60 people. And I'll show you a bunch of different ways that you can do this. I'm going to move this down so I can show you two different ways. Okay, so just be careful. We're not doing constant product here. So this is not inverse. This is a constant ratio. So think about how ratios work. I'm going to do an example here of a ratio. If I had an example of 1 to 5, that's a ratio. And then if I said that this number was 5, then this number would be 25. Because I have times that by 5 and I've times that by 5. Okay, that's an example of a ratio. So think about that with the answers. I'm going to give you one more minute, and then I'll show you two different ways you could do this. But I love that you're all trying and you're giving me your answers. It's great. Keep up the energy, guys.
Yeah, y'all are doing really well.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Teacher Sam, I'm
Kgotlelelo.
so proud of you.
Kgotlelelo, I hope that you're taking part, right? Because I can see you on the screen, Mugai. I hope you are actually writing something. Hey, Kgotlelele. Kgotlelelo. I'm looking at you.
You have been spotted.
Yeah. I can see you, Mugai. I can see you. So you need to write things down on your book. Let's go. Let's go. Give it a try. I believe in you. I trust in you. You can do this.
Okay, guys, I'm going to show you two different ways. The one way is the way I think most of your teachers would talk about it in class, and the other way is the way I personally find it a little bit easier, but you must do which way you are comfortable with, okay? When you're working with a constant ratio, it's always easiest to get it to its base ratio. So basically to make that a 1, okay? Now, the reason that's easy is because you think, well, what do I have to divide 45 by to get to 1? Who can tell me? What do I need to divide 45 by to get an answer of 1? 45 divided by what? 45, exactly. 45 divided by 45 is going to give me 1. Now, because it's a ratio, what we do to one side, we have to do to the other side. So if we divide 900 by 45, we're going to get 20. Okay, so that is what our constant ratio is. That's what we're wanting to get. Then we're going to think, well, we actually want 60 though. We don't want 1. So what do I have to times 1 by to get to 60? What do I have to times 1 by to get to 60? Good. I have to times it by 60. And what we do to one side, we have to do to the other side. So now we're going to say 20 times 60, and that's going to give us 1,200. And that's going to be our answer. So when we're working with direct proportion, we're going to think ratio, and then we're going to think about this. So we're going to write down the ratio that they give us. We're going to simplify our ratio, and then we're going to solve for what answer we are wanting of that ratio. Okay. Cool. Now, another way to do this, if you want to, whenever you're working with ratios, so we have 45 to 900, is the divide up times over method. Okay, so we are wanting to find out what 60 is. So we just write the ratio, we write what we're wanting, you divide up and times over, and you put that into your calculator exactly like that. So you would say 60 divided by 45 times by 900, and you will get the answer of 1,200. That's the divide up times over option. Both work perfectly. You must do the one that you feel more comfortable with. The most important thing is that when you see it's direct, you think constant ratio. Okay. I'm going to scroll down, but this one will still be up on the board, so you don't need to panic. Okay. Let's have a look at this next one. To travel 216 kilometers, a car uses 24 liters of petrol. How far will the car travel on 45 liters of petrol? So now my question to you is this direct or is this inverse? If I if I travel further, am I going to use more petrol? So is one increasing and the other increasing, or is one increasing and the other decreasing? Think about it like that. Yeah, direct. So guys, think about it like this. If we drive further, in our car, we're going to need more petrol. The more we drive in our car, the more petrol we would need. So the further we drive, the more petrol we need. And because one increases and the other increases, so the distance we're driving increases, and so we would also need more petrol, it's going to be direct proportion. So as we drive further, we're going to need more petrol. They're both increasing. And so now you can use all of the skills that you just learned with the previous question. So we've got kilometers to liters. We've got 216 kilometers to 24 liters. And you can use either method. You can use this method here, or you can use the divide up times over method. I want to know how far will we get on 45 liters of petrol. So I want to know what answer is going to be in that kilometer section. Just give it your best go. See how it works. Just going to write this here for those who want to do the middle step. And then you can tell me my glorious answer. And after this question, we'll quickly go down to a quick brain break. Okay, so think about how we did the previous question and then try and use that same logic here. So think, what did I divide by to get to that? What did I times by to get to that? And we need to do the same thing on the other side. Yay, that's a beautiful answer. Nice job. Yay, progress, guys. Very exciting.
Well done, my people. Well
Awesome.
done, guys.
Nice work. Okay, so if you read it the longer way, we would say 24 divided by 24 will give me 1. So we're going to do the same on the other side. We're going to say 216 divided by 24, which gives me 9. And then we'd have to say 1 times 45 gives me 45. So we need to times that by 45. So we're going to say 9 times 45, which gives me 405. And that is going to be our final answer. The quick way of doing this, if I have 216 to 24 and I want to know 45, we do divide up times over. So in our calculator, we would say 45 divided by 24 times by 216, and we would get the answer of 405. Yes, so we're not saying 216 times 45. We're saying 9 times 45. So we first have to work out this number over here, and then we can multiply it by the 45. Yeah, Nelson, how can I help?
Sorry, how did we get the 9?
So, yeah, sure, no problem. On the right here, we wanted to get this ratio down to 1. And so we needed to divide that side by 24 to get to the 1. And what we do to one side, we have to do to the other side. So here we say 216 divided by 24, and that gave me the 9. Okay?
Sure.
Okay, cool. Cool. Nice job. Guys, if you want to take a screenshot, please feel free to take one. We're going to go to a quick brain break after this, and then we will look at some more questions. Yay. Okay. We'll go here first, and then I see Teacher Sam has a nice little joke for you. In this brain break, we are trying to figure out what this question mark is. So we are trying to figure out what that question mark is. So you need to figure out what each of the other ones is first. Be careful. Make sure that you are thinking about bed maths in some of these questions. So for example, know that that multiplication is happening first. And see if you can tell me what the answer to my question mark is. See who can be the first one to get there. It's not a bad one. I think it's quite a fun one.
Let's see, my people, who's the winner of tonight's quiz. Let's see who gets it first, so you can explain to the whole class. Let's go.
Who's your normal winner? Do you have one person who normally beats out the rest?
No, not really. Actually, everyone just gives it a try. And at the
Okay.
end of the day, we might actually guess numbers, and then we give them as a homework because we don't want them to guess. Hey, my pips. But
So
I
this is how
know
this
y'all
rolls.
gonna do well. Yeah.
Guys, Yelena knows you. She knows you so well.
The final answer, my people. The final answer. Let's go.
Try and break it up into steps, guys. So think about what those would be. First one, yes, absolutely. I agree. 20 plus 20 plus 20. I love it. Okay. So that means that this one's also going to be 20 down here. Good. What is this
Very
one
good
over
hints.
here? What's that one going to be? Because that's a little bit different. That one that I've just underlined. What is that taxi cab going to be? Oh, Cameron, I get a much nicer answer. Okay, beautiful. Yes, guys, progress. 9 times 9 is 81. 81 plus 10 is 91. Yes, guys, you are flying.
Let's go. Who has the final answer?
So what times 9 plus itself is going to give me 60? What times 9 plus itself is going to give me 60? Yes, exactly. 5 times 9 is 45. Oh, 5 times 9. No, 5 times 9 is 45. That's not right. Is that right? No. Oh, yes, because that's 20. Whew, okay. No, that's not 20. That's 5. Oh, guys, I'm getting confused by myself here. 9.
But 5 times 9, guys, we get 45, don't we? And then that gets us to 50, not 60.
But if we have 6 times 9 plus 6, then we'll get to 60.
Yes.
So now let's just put our final answers in there. We've got 9 plus 12 times 20. So what is my final answer going to be? Now we just can't fall for bed mass. Yes, Lizzie! Yay!
Well
249. Nice work.
Well done, Nozi Mwamba.
Awesome,
Well
awesome.
done. Well done, Blessing.
Whoop, whoop,
Nice, my
whoop.
people.
Okay, let's quickly see what joke teacher Sam has for us over here. How do you teach math to a chicken? You show them lots of examples. Where did she get these jokes? They're so great.
The lame jokes ever, and they always make me laugh.
Oh, I love them.
Always.
I love pun jokes.
I never miss it. Always. She always cracks it.
Guys, please can you tell this joke to your maths teachers like tomorrow? Well, not tomorrow because you're on holiday. When you're not on holiday, when you go back to
Screenshot.
school. Yeah. Take a screenshot and like put your hand up in your first math lesson of next term and say you have a question. And then your question needs to be, how do you teach math to a chicken? And then your math teacher will be like, I don't know. And you can say, you have to show them lots of examples. And your math teacher is going to laugh. And then they'll have a good day. And then they're going to like you. Okay. Brain break, done. Let's jump back up to some questions. Let's have a look at this one over here. Well, let's jump to this one. Okay. Okay. I want you to think super carefully again here. The exchange rate for $1 is 18 Rand 40. So that means $1 is going to be 18 Rand 40. So now my first question to you is this direct or is this inverse? So if I have more dollars, will I have more rands? That's my first question. If I have more dollars, will I have more rands? Don't even panic about direct or indirect or inverse. My only question to you is, if I have more dollars, will I have more rand? That's my question to you. So if I have more dollars, will I have more rands? That's my question. Good. Yes, I absolutely will. If I have $1 and it is 18 Rand 14, if I have $2, I'm going to times that by 2. So if I have more dollars, I would have more rands. And so because that is true, both are increasing, which means it is direct. Okay. And when it's direct, we're going to think ratio. So we're going to draw ourselves our little table. So we've got dollars and we've got rands. $1 is 18 Rand and 14 cents. And I want to know what I would get for 250 Rand. So again, you've got two options here. You can do it the longer way by first making that a 1. So think, what do I need to divide that by? And then what do I need to times that by to get to 250? Or you can do it the quick way of saying 250 divided by that times by that is equal to that. Do whichever way you feel comfortable with, and then tell me what my answer is going to be. How many dollars will I get for 250 Rand? Oh, Cameron, I wish that was the case, because that would mean that dollars are weaker than the Rand and we could go over to America and spend a lot of money. So we should get quite an ugly number. I see lots of people are rounding off. Generally, when it comes to money, we keep it as a decimal with 2 decimal places. So keep it as a number with 2 decimal places. I'm going to show you both ways here as these answers are coming in. Okay, so first we're going to divide by 1814. So we're going to, this is going to be 1 over 18,14. So I think what a lot of you would have done is you would have gotten a decimal. So I'm going to write the decimal here. I'm going to write 0,055. Let's write 3 decimal places to try and be as accurate as possible. Okay, so some of your decimals might be a little bit different. Then to get from 1 to 250, we have to times by 250. So here we divided by 1814. Now we're timesing by 250. So we're going to times by 250. And if you had 0,055, you'll get the answer 13,75. But some of you may have different answers depending on what you rounded up to. So if you had just put into your calculator 250 divided by 1814 times 1, then you would have gotten 13 Rand and 78 cents. So I would have given you each of those answers. If you had shown your working, I would have given you the 13,75. So if you got close, but you're not entirely sure where you went wrong, please feel free to ask, guys. You can pop your question in the chat, or you can ask Yolanda. You can send her a direct message, or you can put your hand up. All of these options for you.
We have three.
Okay. Nice job. Take a screenshot if you want a screenshot, and we'll go on to our next question.
Ayala, okay. Zoom user, fine. Sorry, because you didn't give me your name, I'll have to call you Zoom user. For the time being, Vele, I hope that you're okay. Butali, the next question is for you, madam. So hopefully you'll be writing down some things, girl. I see you. The lesson is nearly over, so it's definitely for you to try it out. We can do this, my people. Let's go.
Okay, guys, this is a two-part question. So let's see who can get all of this right. In a test, this would be out of 4 marks. So let's see who can get all 4 marks. I'm not going to write a lot here. I'm going to talk to you about a couple of things. So the first thing is it says 2 dozen eggs cost 38 Rand and 40 cents. How many is 2 dozen? How many is 2 dozen? Or how many is a dozen eggs? So then think about like how many 2 dozen eggs would be. 24, absolutely, good, good. So 2 dozen eggs is 24. So if you ever need to know, 1 dozen is equal to 12. Okay, so if it says 2 dozen, it's saying there's 24. So this is saying 24 eggs cost 38 Rand and 40 cents. How much will 9 eggs cost? That's the first question.
Dun, 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 dun. The last question of the day. Let's go, my people. Give it your
So-
best shot.
Yeah, again, the first very important thing is for us to figure out if this is direct or indirect. And so if we have more eggs, is it going to cost more money? Basically, that's my first question. If we have more eggs, is it going to cost more? That's my first question. The more eggs I buy, is it going to cost more money? If that's yes, then it is direct. If that's no, then it is not. That looks like more. Good, it is direct because both would be increasing. So if it's direct, we're going to think ratio. So we have 24 eggs. That's going to cost us 38 Rand and 40 cents. And they wanting to know how much 9 eggs are going to cost us. So we're going to do our method. I'm going to show you both ways again, just in case. So if we wanted to have a 1 there, we're going to first divide that 38 and 40 cents by 24, and we will get the answer 1,6. And then we're wanting to know how many 9 eggs are going to cost. So we're going to times that by 9. So we're going to say 1,6 times 9, and we get the answer 14,4. So 9 eggs are going to cost me 14 Rand 40. The quick way of doing that is to take this 9, divide it by the top number. So we're going to say 9 divided by 24 times by 38,40, and we get our answer. Okay, so that's the first question. So you would get 2 marks for getting this first one right. I'm going to give you 1 minute to try and solve this last part, and then we are going to have to call it an evening. Okay, So if we're doing it this way, we just write this under our rands and this is under our eggs. So we're going to say 51,20 divided by 38,40. We can do that straight on our calculator. We don't have to do anything fancy, but we love our calculators. And then we say times by 24. So this is divide up times over. And we get the beautiful answer of 52. So we would be able to buy 52 eggs. And for this one is again 2 marks. How did these go? You
Yep,
can be
can
honest.
take